Bullock turning the corner. You want some? Get some! Taking on Mark Stampley all by himself. And Bullock won that 14 yards.
And this is what you're going to see. You're going to get misdirection. They're running quarterback counter to the right with jet sweep running back action. And whenever Kentrell Bullock gets the ball, you better be ready to go.
Just excited to play Louisiana Lafayette, standard bearer of our league. Great ball club, offense, defense, special teams. They do a great job running the football. Very efficient on first and second down, run the ball with all three of their backs. Quarterback can be involved in the run game as well. They do a good job of distributing the ball. 0, tight end, 3, 9, all of them at wide 15, all of them at wide receiver. They do a great job with their inside-outside zone run game. The nakeds and play actions off of it. It's going to be a big challenge for our defense. Offensively, they're returning 7 on offense and 7 on defense. So this is a veteran group that knows how to win ball games. They've won ball games all the way back before Napier, with Dez. So there's a lot of built up, understanding, confidence in themselves as a program in terms of how to win those close games. It's going to be a huge task, when you got 14 of your 22 returning and a lot of winning football. And they're playing, honestly, I think they're playing their best football right now. But I'm excited about this opportunity, excited to get down to Lafayette and compete.
Questions?
What did you want to accomplish? What did you accomplish during the bye week?
At this point, there's always areas to improve, but at this point, you're also trying to take care of guys that you need for the last 3 games. So there's some guys that did take reps, but limited reps to make sure they're healed up. You start working on, your next opponent. At the same time, you don't want to start working too early. So Tuesday, Wednesday was a little bit more of how do we get better. A little bit of Wednesday was, Lafayette. Thursday was Lafayette. You just don't want to treat it like a bowl game and get 2 weeks, 3 weeks way out ahead of people, and players get stale. You just can't help it. It's 19 to 22-year-olds, so you want to make sure that, they understand what the day's about. So Tuesday was about getting better. Wednesday was about getting better, regardless of who our opponent is. And then once you go to those scout periods and you start putting their fronts, their coverages, their runs, their formations, then it's time to flip gears towards your opponent.
Gio could go.
Yeah, we got him back last week. It's good for him to have that practice. That's been a hard deal for a redshirt freshman to, all the way back from the turf toe at North Texas to not be able to practice on Monday and not be able to practice on Tuesday and then try to get out there on Wednesday and Thursday, with reduced reps and develop during the season. So it's good to have him back in those off-week practices.
What do you feel like you got most out of the off week?
Opponent preparation. We're focused on Lafayette. They're focused on Arkansas State. So obviously you get a jump there. You get an opportunity to work, but kind of work at your pace and allow some of your players, guys that have played on special teams, offense, defense, guys like Pritch, Voisin, who have high rep counts from the wide receiver, a lot of running. Guys like Blaine Myrick who play on teams and play a lot on defense. It's just an opportunity for them to still get work, still put their eyes on what they need to see, but reduce some of the pounding on their joints, and some of the legs.
When you look at Louisiana, offense, defense, they're just solid all around, right?
Yeah, very well coached. Didn't perform the way they wanted to last year, and as a program, you got to give Des a ton of credit because went back to the drawing board. When you look at them offensively, I don't want to say they're simple because that's kind of an underhanded, slap, but they do a great job of keeping it simple yet complicated. But there's also the same schemes. So they're able to dress things up without asking too much of their kids to where they have errors in execution. They do just the right amount of changing things up week to week, just the right amount of window dressing, just the right amount of a new concept, maybe here or there, without taking the whole bottle. And so now they can operate as 11 strong, and they're not creating penalties and beating themselves. They do a great job of playing efficient on that side. On defense, they don't try to do too much. Now, they've got really good players, but they, again, kind of similar to what we're talking about with the quarterback, they do a good job of understanding this is about how much we can play man before we expose ourselves. This is a sprinkle of this, a sprinkle of that to be able to vary the looks up for the quarterback. I just think they do an outstanding job of coaching. Very well coached top to bottom.
The games you guys have won this year have been blowouts, the closer games you've had trouble in. So you think you can put your finger on? Is there a way to address that with the guys to make sure that sort of thing does? That you play better?
Yeah, I think every game has its own, complexion. Week 2 is different from week 7, and week 7 is different from, week 10. Every game kind of has its own reasonings and understandings, and it's important that we pull those things out, whether it's how to go into halftime at Ohio, how to play our backup, how to be able to get something out of our last 2 drives offensively. That pop bucket up again against Georgia Southern when we needed points, we didn't score points in the fourth quarter. We made special teams errors in the Georgia Southern game. So every game has its own reason. It's whether we learn from those reasons and can fix those issues, and we pay attention to it as coaches and eliminate those from our game.
Wooldridge, their quarterback, obviously has been around a long time. Just what do you see out of him?
I just see a really good quarterback play. I see a kid who his eyes are in the right place. He's accurate. He's consistent down end to down. To down. His eyes are where they need to be over and over again. He puts them in the right run plays. He sees what he needs to see, and I just see him operating and doing exactly what he's supposed to do.
These last 3 are obviously important for some of the goals that y'all had set. What do you see from the guys going into this, and what do you expect from them?
I expect them to fight and play hard against the number 1 team in our league. We know as fans and even as coaches and players, we know the ramifications of the next 3 games and all those things, but you can only have 1 practice at a time, 1 game at a time. I know that's cliche, but that's the reality of it. What Texas State, Southern Miss down, that is irrelevant. Like, you're getting ready to play the number 1 team in your league. You better be focused on them. You better be prepared to play a very disciplined ball game because that's the type of team they are. You better be prepared to play a very physical ball game because that's the type of team they are. So our mind really shouldn't get past Tuesday, but if it does, it damn sure shouldn't get past Saturday in Lafayette. Just in terms of where your mindset and your focus is as a competitor. 1 at a time. We see it all over college football. I mean, I remember growing up watching college football. Georgia Tech never had a shot at Miami, not a single shot. Ole Miss never had a shot at Georgia, not a single shot. And college football has changed, and it's not about the best team on paper. It's the best team that shows up on Saturday for about 3.5 hours. So you got to prepare that way, be mentally prepared that way. Who cares what Vegas or Sports Center or game day thinks? It's about who shows up. It's about who takes care of the ball, plays physical, doesn't beat themselves, understands how to stay on the field, scores touchdowns in the red area. The recipe won't ever change. It won't ever change. And you're just seeing more of it nowadays because everybody's got a scholarship, everybody's got an NIL collective, and you can get great players. So better focus on the process Sunday through Friday, show up and be ready to play Saturday.
What about Louisiana? What do you see?
Well, what do you not see? Kind of got an older ball club and obviously playing really well, especially for this league. They have great size and length and really overall team speed. They're hard to move the ball on. They know what they're doing. They line up. They play. They do a good job of whipping you. So certainly going to have a challenge on our hands.
I know it was like 20 years ago now, it seems like, but fourth quarter in Georgia Southern, you guys, didn't score.
Yeah.
What kind of went wrong?
Well, we got to do, and it starts with, probably me. We got to do a better job probably of just handling the whole, circumstances of, maybe a little bit of a shift in momentum there. And you see that kind of play out every week. You watch any game on Sunday, and you're bound to see something like that happen. And we just got to grow and learn from that, and that's myself included. I think we just we had too many penalties overall in the game. It really set us back on offense, and some of them we were able to overcome, and we certainly moved the ball fairly well at times, but in those critical moments, we can't have the penalties. The turnover's a crazy thing. Wish we'd have that one back. But you can't have those types of things. And then in the kind of as we're moving the ball, there were some plays there in the final drive that I think we can maybe put our guys in a little bit better position or just execute a little better, and we wouldn't even probably have gotten to that third down sequence. So, but a lot to learn from, and the guys, certainly nobody was excited about that, but thought we had a good bye week of practice on offense, and they were really good today. It's been a great group of kids to coach, and they learn, and they want to improve each week.
Talk about the excitement of playing the number one team at their place. Kind of like pin your ears back and let's go.
Yeah, I mean, this is they've certainly done a good job this year, and playing there is always a challenge. They're tough to play whether you play them at home or on the road. But when you go to their place, it's certainly a challenge, a unique fan base, and it's certainly something that we're looking forward to. That's why you want to come play here, is playing these type of games.
Coach said Gio did as much early in the week last week as he had this year. Just what have you seen out of him last couple of weeks, the way he's developed?
Yeah, he's good, and I really thought he was playing a really good game, and things happen in football sometimes. I mean, wasn't anything dirty, just some things happen, and had to come out, and but he's bounced back, and he was limited last week, kind of like he has been. But he was as engaged as he could be once he got cleared, and is just a kid you love to have on your team. He's absolutely bought in, and watching tape over the weekend, he watched games that they had played while he was home, and he's fired up about this one. Knows it's going to be a really good challenge.
Louisiana, what concerns you about it?
Well coached, disciplined. They're extremely physical up front. They're going to run outside zone, and they got their nakeds off of it, and then they've got their play pass where they're going to take some shots. So we've got to be extremely physical at the point of attack. We've got to be disciplined to do our job. They had a great game against Arkansas State where they're going to be. They probably are peaking at the right time if you're them, and so we've got to do a great job to stay on top of those routes, have great eyes. So when it goes from outside zone to naked, having a plan for keeping the quarterback caged and then also staying on top of those routes.
To play the number one team at their place, it's always fun to take part in these type of games. What's the attitude?
I think back to App State. App State was, the leader of that side when we went over there earlier in the season. And so it's the same type of challenge, it's that you play meaningful games this time of year. And so it's time for us to go on the road, and we've played some complete games here at home. We had the App State game early in the year, but now let's continue to see that. We've talked about growth enough. Let's let it come to fruition now. And so I think the guys are excited for the challenge. And so it should be a lot of fun to get over there and in a great atmosphere. Just watching their tape, it'll be interesting with all the fans on one side of the field with the construction they have going on. So they'll all be right there behind us, and it should be a great atmosphere and a lot of fun.
What did you guys focus on defensively on the bye week?
A lot of development. Obviously getting to younger guys some reps, but also giving our chance. We've been banged up a little bit at certain positions, and especially linebacker, and so just giving some younger guys some reps, like a guy like Parker Shattuck, all those reps, Julian Demby, those reps are invaluable that those guys can get in the course of a bye week. A guy like Ty Goodwill at free safety behind Jaden Boyson, just all of those younger guys continuing to build and bank those reps of our defense and how they can execute.
Yeah, you mentioned linebacker. You lost 2 guys for the season and had some other guys banged up. Just how do you piece it together?
Next man up. It's just, Parker got a chance to play some against Georgia Southern, and it's just, that room is taking a big toll. It helps when those guys are still around. Gavin and Dalton are still around, and they're able to still, a lot of times those guys come in and they teach. Now they become kind of like secondary coaches behind Coach Clemenson, and so they've seen the reps, and obviously Blaine is playing at a high level and Darius is playing at a really high level. Both those guys are continuing to do a really good job, but now it's building those next guys, whether it be Chris Style or Parker or Julian, just whoever that next piece is that's in with them and communicating, because at the end of the day, when they're in there, we all got to work together, and we talk about, as long as we're all on the same page, we're all on the right page, even if it's the wrong check. As long as everybody gets the check and we communicate loud and we're playing the same defense, we can't have half the guys playing one and half the guys playing the other, but as long as we're all on the same page, we can survive the down.
For instance, what did you guys focus on the bye week? What did you feel like we got that done?
We were just trying to get healthy offensively, and then just cleaning up some stuff to get ready for this week.
What do you see in that Louisiana defense?
They're really good. They're long. They're really long all over the defense, especially on the D line. The defensive ends are very long, and they're very active as well. So we'll have to shut them down for sure.
You guys played well at times on the road and sometimes not. Just going to face a good team on the road, what do you got to do?
Oh, we just have a good week of practice. We have to be confident going in there, and then a good week of practice battling, and we should be fine.
I see two really good running backs. They want to run the ball, but if they're not able, they're going to try to throw the ball. These flood concepts. Their quarterback's probably the best quarterback we played all year, if I'm being honest. He's really good. He's a smart quarterback. He's very patient in the pocket, and he will throw the deep balls. We're a super sound, aggressive offense, and, I think our scheme that we had this week is, perfect for them and what they do. We just have to execute and go out there and play hard.
The linebacker room, more the inside linebackers, kind of losing bodies, guys getting hurt. Just what have you seen out of the younger guys, and what's everybody kind of do to step up, I guess?
It's always that, next man up mentality. So, they've been ready, whether they're on scout team or, they've been practicing their technique. They're ready to play. So the people they have coming up, like Julian and Parker, they've been ready to play. They just, their time came. People injured. You don't want injuries to happen, but you always have to have that next man up mentality, so you'll be ready to step up when you need to.
Going on the road against a good team, kind of what's the mentality?
Like Coach Applewhite always says, you're going into somebody else's house, and he always talks about how you kick down the door and bring them outside and go beat them up. That's kind of the mentality you have to have when you're going home, especially to the number one team in our side of the conference too, especially with a big team like that. That definitely has to be your mentality. You can't go in there very timid or soft, because it's not going to work out for you in the end. But just very aggressive, very smart, controlled aggression, not losing your mind like a chicken with its head cut off, but very smart and just being very aggressive. We have to come punch them in the mouth all in the first play.